Hello all. I've been guided, didn't know this was going to happen, to make a few little videos about, well, they're made in the time of the coronavirus, but the tips inside them within are more geared towards holistic health. And I'm making this primarily because I see a great gap between the haves and the have-nots. And actually, some of the guidance and some of the research that I've had the privilege to do has really shown that there are some really simple tools that we can use to steer our health into a more ideal place for us. At the time of making this, a lot of people are worried about ending up in hospital. There's not enough hospital capacity. And actually, what we're seeing is that there are certain things that aren't being discussed at this time that can actually help to avert the symptoms from worsening if people have them. So, I want to focus today on gut health. And I want to give gratitude to a sister called Paulina Outkina, who's an amazing psychic. And what she's brought through in her communication with the coronavirus is very similar to something that I've personally experienced and a teacher of mine has experienced physically. So, Paulina has an amazing gift to be able to connect with the personality, with the being that is a virus. And some years ago, I remember she was telling me about having met the energy of HIV and how it works. And I'm not going to go into that because that's another topic. But she's made her own broadcasts on this, and I recommend you can tune into them. And she says that coronavirus actually, it's got things to teach us. All viruses do, and that it starts off in the gut, and this is actually when people study nutrition or holistic health, we often get taught about gut health. And actually, our immune system, its well-being is predicated on our gut health as well. And what people are not aware of, and people probably hear a little bit about friendly bacteria, but a lot of people have been programmed to think bacteria, bad, 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 and we have all this antibacterial everything. And actually, we have within us the microbiome, which holds all these marvelous beings. And I also want to give gratitude to dear friend Dan Schreiber, who's no longer in this realm, who also used to teach a lot on the microbiome. And our friendly bacteria are responsible for keeping everything ticking over, basically, and this affects all our other organs. And if it goes out of balance, if unhealthy bacteria take over, this is where our health can get depleted, our mood can lower, we become just generally run down, and that can get really, really, really serious. Now, the thing is that actually getting good gut health can be okay. There are dietary things that we have to do, but there are simple steps that we can take to start to already improve our gut health. And you may have heard, so different people. I really want to get these teachings out to people from all communities. So you may all have access to yogurt, and some yogurt is just yogurt, but some has friendly bacteria in it. Now, some of the findings out of places like China are that more meat and dairy in the diet doesn't help the recovery of coronavirus, and it's better to have warming foods, things like soup with lots of vegetables in it, things like that, and a lot of fresh food. When we eat processed foods and lots of sugar and things like white bread, this is not good for the microbiome, and this does not help the friendly bacteria. Okay? And things that are good for it, there are some things like Yakult that you get in some countries, or Active something. Sorry, I travel a lot. So Actimel, I think it may be called. So sometimes those little pots of yogurt, those have friendly bacteria in them. Okay. And Even better can be to start to eat things like sauerkraut, which is a pickled cabbage. It's not pickled in the way that it's vinegar, it's fermented. So there's a difference. You have to really check not to get pickled cabbage. And some people label it the wrong way. So it also has the friendly bacteria in it. And also a drink which is very, very popular in like kind of healing areas of some holiday resorts and places is kombucha. And and there's also kimchi and miso and fermented foods in general. Now, you can make, if you're on a low budget, you can actually make sauerkraut, and it takes like hardly any time, maybe 3 days before you can eat it, but I recommend for you to keep it longer. And you can even make an okay sauerkraut with just cabbage and salt and a jar. But there are all sorts of ways you can make it, but I recommend that you Google this because everybody can afford some cabbage. And if you just have this as a condiment with your food, each meal or one meal a day, it will start to help you get the healthy bacteria back, which will help to fight things off. Because what we found is that the more serious symptoms in some cases, there's not enough known yet, but some of us have had early symptoms of coronavirus, and some of them have progressed for some people, and they've gone to the pneumonia stage, and others of us had it early, and we started with the internal issues, and they didn't migrate up to the lungs. And for me, I've had lung issues since I was little, and I do a lot of work with breath work, and it was really important. I guess I was so busy working on my lungs that I got it somewhere else, and it wasn't coming out of my body or anything because I wasn't coughing, or sneezing or anything, but I could feel that something was attacking my internal system, and I had a test, and it showed me that I was exposed to the coronavirus. So anyway, I will talk at times about things that I use, but one of them was I upped my prebiotics and probiotics. So prebiotics, this is an example of what will look like prebiotics. Inulin. Inulin's food for the happy good bacteria. And the probiotics include the bacteria in them, the good ones. And when you can start to do that and start to create a good army in your system, it will mean that your whole system will upgrade and your health levels will improve. Obviously, the more you can do to eat a balanced diet, the better. But even just by including these foods, or this is a powder, you can add this to water. It's slightly sweet. Just by adding these into your daily diet will do huge things. And I have been guided to make this video because I think that there are going to be discussions about maybe where governments put their money, and why are governments paying for so many bombs at the moment, when the reason there are such problems with these with healthcare systems is because there's a lack of beds, and that provision is nothing to do with us, okay? But the one thing we can do is to work on our health and not get sick, because if we can, as a community, regulate ourselves and not even get to the point where we get the cold, then, and we are always more resilient because more and more things will come. But if we always have healthy immune system, always have good gut health, then hey, win-win. Not putting pressure on the healthcare system, not going through the trauma of isolation, not going through the fear story, because we actually can take it all in our own hands. And this will help our governments. This will help the medical system. So I think as more and more findings come out about when we go through the peak part of this, there will be more discussed, because several of us have seen that there were things going on internally before, well, it's all internal, but before they reach the lungs. And the lungs is where the complications come in. So that is why I feel I have a duty of care to pass this news on to you, because either way, no matter what, this is your first port of call if you want to boost your immune system, if you want to start to create a healthier, holistic being in you, you would start here. So just starting to do that Remember, probiotics and prebiotics, and we'll write a few links down here. Oh, something else just linked to that worked well in China was that some people responded very well to medical intervention and also to natural Chinese remedies. And one of them, astragalus, is a root that you can get in powdered or tinctured form easily in whatever country you should be in. And sorry, forgive me if you can't, but it's popular. And astragalus is great because it boosts the immune system, like things like echinacea, but they actually say it's more efficient than that. And it also helps gut health. So if you wanted a catch-all thing and you've got limited cash and you invest in astragalus, this is helping you to have a really good preventative system and also helping you to get ahead of the game with the gut health. And then you could also start making your own sauerkraut or start sourcing it. And there are all sorts of amazing flavors. So look it up. And yep, this is made for people with a limited budget. And yeah, I hope this helps. Take care. Bye bye.